Hello everyone, welcome back. Corey Anderson here. Today I'm going to go over with you about the law of opulence, the second part, which is called Leaven, or in other words, abundance. And this is written by Wallace Wattles back in 1907. Part 2, Leaven. The kingdom of God is in nature, like the leaven in a meal. It is in all and through all. It includes all nature, for God is the cause of nature. And when nature is perfectly natural, there is the kingdom of God in all its fullness. If God be the mind of nature, then there can be no more perfect expression of God than in the naturalness in nature. The kingdom of God includes all life, for God is life itself. And when life is lived in the perfectly natural way, there is the kingdom of God in all of its fullness. For there can be no more perfect expression of God than in the living of life in a natural way. And this brings us to the question, how may life be lived in the natural way? The living of life consists in the continual advancing into more life. Drop a seed in the center of a field, and the life in the seed will at once become active. It ceases to merely exist and begins to live. Soon it produces a plant and a seed head in which there are 30, 60, or 100 seeds, each containing just as much life as the first seed contained. These then fall into the ground, and in turn they begin to live. And in time there are 1,000,000 seeds in the field, each containing just as much life as the first seed contained. The life of the first seed, in the mere act of living, increases 1,000,000-fold. The living of life consists in the continual increase in life. There is no other way to live. This necessity of life for increase is the cause of what we know as evolution. There is no such thing as evolution in the mineral world, such as rocks. Minerals do not advance or progress. Lead does not evolve into tin, tin into iron, iron into silver, and silver into gold, and so on. Evolution is found only in the organic forms of life, such as plants and animals, and is caused by the natural necessity of life to find fuller and fuller expression. Life on this earth began no doubt in a single cell, but a single cell could not give a sufficient amount of expression to life, and so it formed a double-celled organism, then organisms of many cells, then vertebrates, then mammals, and finally man. All this because the inherent necessity of life to advance forever into more abundant and complete expression. You yourself, your body, this whole physical aspect of your being, is made up of millions and billions and trillions of cells, living entities. And these cells are distributed through muscles. They live as muscles, they live as tissue, they live as anything and everything that, your bones, your body is a living organism, and you have to take care of it. You have to feed it right. You have to give it the proper nutrients for it to properly produce and grow, because it starts with your body, it starts with your health, and then you'll be able to have a clearer mind and perception of the external and the internal world. Before we get into all that, let's read this. And evolution did not cease with the formation of man. Physical evolution ceased, and mental and spiritual evolution began. Man, from the beginning, has been developing more ability to live. Each generation is capable of living more than the preceding generation. The race is continually advancing into more life, so we see that the living of life is to live more. The action of consciousness continually expands consciousness. The primal necessity of mind is to know more, to feel more, and to enjoy more. The necessity of mind is the cause of social evolution and progress. If we take conscious life to be the highest expression of God, or of the mind of nature, then the purpose of all things is to further the development of conscious life. And if man is the highest form of conscious life, and he is, then the purpose of all things is to further the development of man. And if the development of man consists in the increase in his capacity of more conscious life, then the purpose of all nature must be to further the continuous advancement of man into more and more of conscious life. Life finds expression by the use of things. The measure of a man's life is not the things he possesses, but in the number of things he is able to use rightly. And to have fullness of life is to have all the things in which we are able to use rightly. The purpose of the mind of nature being the continuous advancement of man into more abundant life, it must also be the intention of that mind that every man should have the unrestrained use of all things that he is capable of using and enjoying rightly. The purpose of God is that we all should have life and have it more abundantly. God is the mind of nature, and God is in all and through all. Therefore, the mind or intelligence of God is in all and through all, like the leaven in a meal. The desire for advancement is a fundamental fact in the action of mind. Therefore, the desire for advancement is in all and through all. All things desire the advancement of every man. If a man desires any good thing in order to live life more fully, that thing desires him also. The mind of things responds to the mind of man. When man desires advancement, all things work together for good to the man who only desires advancement. The greatest of all facts to us is the fact that there is a mind in nature which desires us to have all the things that we are capable of using and willing to use in the direction of fuller life, and that this mind is in the things themselves, tending to bring them towards us. That is basically how the law of attraction works. If you guys haven't heard of the law of attraction, feel free to look it up right now and do your own little research. I will be making recordings and videos talking about the law of attraction and the science behind it. This is science. It's all science. It's objectively proven. And that if we take the right course in recognizing this mind and walking with it, all things must come to us. But this mind is the mind of the whole, not of a part. And if we lose sight of the whole and enter into competition with our fellows for a part, we lose all. For competition for a part is virtually a denial and rejection of the whole. He who recognizes and accepts the whole cannot compete for a part. It is the idea of competition for a limited supply which prevents us from seeing and accepting the abundance which is ours. We still keep up the foolish struggle of Caesar's kingdom because we cannot see the kingdom of God which is all around us and within us. The kingdom of heaven is within you, Jesus. Well, how are we to avoid competition when the whole business world is proceeding on the methods of competing for a limited supply? How can we get work without competing for jobs? Can we succeed in a competitive world without competing? Shall we withdraw from the world and form communistic societies? Certainly not. To try that is to fail. A communistic community is a body of people who don't compete with each other, but do compete with everyone else. No community can be complete unto itself without limiting its members in the means of life, and to do this is to defeat the ends aimed at. And if it's not complete in itself, satisfying all its wants, it must compete with the outside world for what is lacking. And this is what we seek to avoid. No separation of a part from the whole in any way would solve the problem. The community scheme is inconvenient, unnatural, unpracticable. Shall we establish socialism, cooperative commonwealth? We cannot do it because socialism and cooperative commonwealth are things of the whole and can only be established by the whole. In reality, the cooperative commonwealth can never be established. It must establish itself, and it does that through us, through you. we the people have to work together, because we are all here for each other. Only when we realize that we're here for each other and start to work together can we actually establish the whole and live life to the fullest in its natural living way. And it may take it a long time yet to do so. We cannot do away with competition by legislative enactment of any kind, so long as the majority of men believe in a limited supply. So we must keep right in the business in the present system, and yet cease to compete. Can we do it? Yes. But how? And that is the end of Part 2 and Leaven from The Law of Opulence by Wallace D. Wattles. So, the law of abundance. We live in an abundant universe. There is more than enough to go around for you. There is more than enough to go around for the person next to you. We all have our own. We just need to have faith in principle. Have faith in God. And God will certainly lead us and help us along our way, but only if we believe. Like Jesus said, ask and believe that you will receive, and you shall receive. But you must have perfect faith and trust in this intelligence, in this mind, in God. So, with that being said, ponder over that a little bit. I'll see you guys on the other side of the galaxy. Take care.